You might find this video useful if you're thinking about contracting an artist sometime soon or having a logo made. So I've been starting to post to YouTube again for the first time in a while, and I thought I might as well get my branding upgraded before I really get into this. I went all over Fiverr, looked at several profiles, and found one I was impressed with. This user, Audrey Paghetti, had a great variety in the logos she's created, and I really liked her style of a limited amount of colors with simple, bold shapes and lines. So I looked further into her profile, looked at more reviews, and I saw that most people were indeed pretty happy with her work. And I ended up buying a standard package. So that included several initial concepts that she would deliver to me, and then after I chose one of those concepts, we would iterate on it a few times to get to a final product. So she sent me a questionnaire with a lot of questions. Most were pretty straightforward to answer. A few were pretty important though. She asked me about key colors that I wanted included. I said one of my theme colors is purple. I don't want the logo to be all purple, but I wanted it to include purple. But she also asked about the personality of my company. So this is an educational channel. I want this to be a welcoming and inviting environment. I want people to feel like they can click on one of my videos and get value out of it. I don't want someone to feel like they don't belong or that my stuff isn't for them. So the priority is to feel welcoming. And that's what I conveyed to her in my response. One of the other things I sent her were some example logos that I like. On the left, you have Applied Sciences logo. On the right, you have Practical Engineering's logo. They're both orange, and that's a coincidence. The thing I like about these is they have a limited number of items that are combined in simple ways to make a unique and recognizable logo. There's simple lines, bold coloring, bold lines, and overall, it's just a cohesive logo that's done tastefully with a limited number of colors and items. That's what I want. This is an example of a logo that I absolutely hate. I hate it for a couple of reasons. It's the logo for one of those garbage Facebook pages that posts questionable and misleading science videos, but also it's just got way too much going on inside of it. Look at all these separate and totally unrelated items in it. There's roots, there's an explosion, there's a beaker in the middle of nowhere on a planet, and the science is awesome isn't even the name of the Facebook page, I'm pretty sure. I just hate an awful lot about this. I think it's trash, bad logo. I sent her this and said, this is bad. I also sent her a few other preferences, like I'm not Nile Red. I don't want any chemistry stuff in my logo. No beakers or liquids or bubbles. And I also think light bulbs are a trope for educational channels, so I said no light bulbs. So after that and a few other pieces of information I gave her, she sent me these concepts. The first and the third are both pretty good. I like the color schemes, but I think the core logos are a little too busy, too many small little lines going on. I decided to move forward on the second. I like the layout. The third one, the Mad and the Gin, are too far apart. The second one, I like how they're right near each other, but on separate lines. So I decided to look at this logo and think, all right, what do I want changed about this? So after looking it over, I realized a few things. It was still a little too busy in the top, and it was a little too focused on mechanical stuff. So here's one of the messages. The message that I sent her was longer than this, but here's one of the core things I sent her. I said, 1, color scheme. It looks fine, but purple and gold feels like an overdone color scheme. Purple and gold is a very common and long-standing color scheme. Lots of entities, organizations use it. The other thing is I'm focused on software engineering and hardware engineering projects, but there's too many mechanical things between the gear and the wrench and them being so big. So I said, let's add a text editor window, get rid of the gear, and shift the hand so it's not right in the middle. I sent her this sketch. It's pretty bad, but it got the message across as far as what I wanted. I wanted a simple a window on the left that had some simple shapes in it, nothing too complicated. So she sent me this back, which is pretty good. There was a small miscommunication in that I just said, let's change the color scheme without giving her any real direction. And then I got back a logo that was all purple, since that was one of the only colors I mentioned to her initially, which I don't blame her for. And honestly, it doesn't look too bad. It's just a lot of purple. So I looked at this and I said, all right, that cursor in the text window isn't quite right. It needs to be wider and shorter to be more like a block cursor in a terminal, so it feels more code-y. I also thought those window buttons in the top right of that window need to be colored so it's more recognizable as like a software window. So I asked her to color it like a Mac, the red, the yellow, and the green, instead of just being all gray like on Linux. I think on Linux, yeah, it's gray, gray, red. And I also didn't want the hand to be overlapping with that text window, so I asked her to move it to the right. And I also talked to her about the color scheme. I said, all right, let's try one of the color schemes from one of the other original designs. So after that, she sent me back this, which is starting to look pretty good. The window buttons are a little too bright, and the cursor needs to be filled in, and the top of that text editor window is closer to the top than the bottom is to the bottom. So I asked her to extend the bottom so that the margins at the top and the bottom above that text editor window are the same. And that light purple color that the gin and the wrench are, it's a fine color. I just don't like it very much. I asked her to change that and a few other colors. And after she got back to me, I ended up with this, which is what I ended up settling on as the final product. I'm really happy with this. I think it's got a simple set of colors. It's not all purple. We got gray and we got blue in there. And it's got simple shapes. It's recognizable and has simple items in it. And it's got thick, boldly defined areas. So all in all, after a tip and then the Fiverr fee, I ended up paying $74. And I'm pretty happy with what I got out of that. She was really prompt. I gave her feedback. Sometimes I took days to get back on feedback, and then she would respond within an hour or two. And this will be my logo for my channel moving forward now. I hope this will give you some confidence to move forward and maybe get something done yourself on Fiverr if you've never worked with a contract artist before, or maybe on a different website. I just happen to use Fiverr. And if you're interested in seeing any more of my content, I occasionally stream myself solving software engineering problems, usually LeetCode on Twitch. There's links in the description. Thanks for hanging out. Be safe out there.